Many people learn English for years, but they still struggle to speak. They understand grammar, they know many words, but when it's time to talk, they feel stuck. The reason is simple. They don't practice speaking enough. English is not just something you learn, it is something you use. In this video, you will understand why talking in English is so important and how it can completely change your fluency. Part 1. Speaking turns knowledge into skill. You can learn grammar rules, memorize vocabulary, and watch many lessons. But if you don't speak, your English will stay passive knowledge. Speaking is what turns that knowledge into a real skill. Think about it like this. You can read about swimming, watch videos about swimming, and understand all the techniques. But if you never enter the water, you will never learn how to swim. English works in the same way. When you speak, your brain becomes active. It starts searching for words, forming sentences, and expressing ideas. This process trains your brain to use English in real situations. At first, it may feel slow or difficult. You may forget words or make mistakes. That is completely normal. But every time you speak, your brain becomes stronger. Another important point is that speaking helps you remember better. When you use words in real sentences, your brain stores them more effectively compared to just reading or memorizing. For example, if you learn the word improve and say, "I want to improve my English," you are more likely to remember it. Speaking also builds confidence. The more you speak, the less fear you feel. Slowly, you become comfortable expressing your thoughts in English. So remember, learning English is not enough. You must use it by speaking. Part 2. Speaking improves your thinking speed. One of the biggest benefits of talking in English is that it improves your thinking speed. Many learners face this problem. They understand English, but when they try to speak, they take too much time. They pause, they think, they translate, and then they speak slowly. This happens because their brain is not trained to think quickly in English. When you don't speak regularly, your brain does not get enough practice to form sentences fast. It keeps depending on translation from your native language. But when you start speaking every day, something powerful begins to happen. Your brain starts adapting. At first, you may speak slowly. "I want to learn English." But with daily speaking practice, your brain becomes faster. "I want to learn English." This improvement happens because your brain is building direct connections between thoughts and English words. Speaking regularly reduces the habit of translating. Instead of thinking in your native language and converting it, you begin to think directly in English. Another important benefit is that speaking helps you become more spontaneous. In real conversations, you don't have time to think too much. You need to respond quickly. When you practice speaking daily, your brain learns to react faster, just like in real situations. You can train this skill with simple exercises. For example, choose a topic and speak for 1 minute without stopping. It can be anything. My daily routine, my favorite food, my goals. Even if you make mistakes, keep speaking. This trains your brain to keep thinking and speaking at the same time. Another powerful exercise is asking yourself questions and answering them quickly. For example, what did I do today? What will I do tomorrow? Answer without long pauses. This builds your mental speed in English. Over time, you will notice that your sentences come more naturally, and you don't need to think too much before speaking. That is the moment when your English starts becoming fluent. Part 3. Speaking removes fear and builds real confidence. One of the biggest reasons why you must talk in English is this. It removes fear and builds real confidence. Many learners have knowledge. They understand English, they know grammar, and they have learned many words. But when it is time to speak, they feel nervous. Their heart beats faster. Their mind goes blank. They worry about making mistakes, and because of this, they stay silent. This fear is very common. But here is the truth. Fear does not go away by thinking. It goes away by doing. If you keep waiting to feel confident before speaking, you may wait forever. Confidence comes after practice, not before. When you start speaking English regularly, even in small ways, your brain slowly realizes something important. Nothing bad is happening. You speak, you make a small mistake, and life continues. No problem. This experience slowly reduces your fear. At the beginning, you may feel uncomfortable. Your sentences may not be perfect. You may forget words. But every time you speak, your comfort level increases. That is how confidence is built, through repeated action. Another important point is that speaking helps you become comfortable with making mistakes. Many learners think mistakes are bad, but in reality, mistakes are one of the best teachers. When you speak and make a mistake, your brain learns what is correct and what is not. For example, you may say, "He go to school." Later, you realize the correct sentence is, "He goes to school." This correction helps your brain improve. If you never speak, you never make mistakes. And if you never make mistakes, you never improve. Speaking also helps you handle real-life situations. When you talk to people, you learn how to express your ideas, how to respond, and how to continue a conversation. These are real skills that cannot be learned only by reading or watching. You can start building confidence with very simple practices. Speak to yourself daily. Record your voice and listen to it. Practice speaking on small topics for 1 or 2 minutes. At first, your voice may feel strange to you. That is normal. But over time, you will feel more comfortable. Another powerful method is accepting imperfection. Tell yourself, "I don't need perfect English. I just need to speak." This mindset removes pressure and allows you to speak more freely. As you continue speaking every day, your fear becomes smaller and your confidence becomes stronger. One day, you will notice that you are speaking without overthinking. That is real confidence. Part 4. Speaking makes your English natural and fluent. Another powerful reason why you must talk in English is this. It makes your English natural and fluent. Many learners know English, but their sentences sound slow, broken, or unnatural. They pause too much, think too much, and sometimes their sentences don't flow smoothly. This happens because they have not practiced real speaking enough. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about using what you know smoothly and naturally. And this only happens when you speak regularly. When you speak every day, your brain starts learning sentence patterns. Instead of thinking word by word, your brain begins to remember full phrases. For example, instead of thinking, "I want to improve," your brain automatically says, "I want to improve my English." This is how fluency develops, through practice and repetition. Another important benefit of speaking is that it improves your sentence flow. At the beginning, your speech may sound like this. "I am learning English every day." But with regular practice, it becomes smoother. "I am learning English every day." This happens because your brain and mouth start working together. Speaking also improves your pronunciation and rhythm. When you speak, you hear your own voice. You notice how words sound, and slowly you adjust your pronunciation. If you also repeat sentences from videos, your speech becomes even more natural. For example, if you hear, "I'm gonna try again," and you repeat it many times, your brain learns how real English sounds in daily conversation. Another powerful benefit is that speaking helps you use real expressions, not just textbook English. Instead of saying very formal or unnatural sentences, you begin to use simple and natural expressions like, "I think so," "Let me try," "I'll do it later." These are the types of sentences people use in real life. You can build fluency with simple daily habits. Speak for 10 to 15 minutes every day. Talk about your day, your thoughts, or your plans. Repeat useful sentences again and again. Over time, your speech becomes faster, smoother, and more natural. That is fluency. Part 5. Speaking is the key to real communication. The final and most important reason why you must talk in English is this: speaking is the key to real communication. The main purpose of learning any language is not just to understand it, but to use it to communicate with others. You may know grammar. You may understand words. You may even understand videos and conversations. But if you cannot express your thoughts, your English is not complete. Speaking is what turns English into a real-life skill. When you speak, you share your ideas, your opinions, your feelings, and your experiences. This is what communication is all about. In real life, people do not care if your grammar is perfect. They care if they can understand you. That is why speaking is more important than being perfect. Another important point is that speaking opens new opportunities. When you can speak English, you can talk to more people, learn from different sources, and grow your confidence in many areas of life. Whether it is studies, work, or daily communication, speaking English gives you more freedom. Speaking also helps you become independent in learning. When you speak, you don't depend only on books or lessons. You start using English in real situations, and that makes your learning faster and stronger. You begin to think, respond, and express yourself naturally. You can start building this skill with small steps. Speak every day, even for a few minutes. Talk about your day, your thoughts, and your goals. Ask yourself questions and answer them in English. Use simple sentences, but use them regularly. Remember, communication is not about big words. It is about clear expression. Now let's quickly remember what we learned. Speaking turns knowledge into skill. It improves your thinking speed. It removes fear and builds confidence. It makes your English natural and fluent. And most importantly, it helps you communicate in real life. This is why you must talk in English. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful English learning content. Thank you for watching. Keep speaking, keep improving, and I will see you in the next video.